Hello, everybody, and welcome or welcome back to the second shelf and to my once a year video about my personal challenge in August. If you follow me, you know what I mean. And for those of you who might be new, I have one rule when it comes to buying books and how many books on the TBR, what have you, and that is that I have to read more books than I bring into the house, preferably each month. And that is an okay rule, and I'm doing pretty well, except for July, because July is my birthday, and as any book lover, I get book gifts and vouchers and things like that. So it's like 20 books at least that come into the house in addition to the books I normally buy. And so in August, I do the 30 books in 30 days challenge. I know August has 31 days. We will get to that in a minute. In order to, balance out the books again. And yes, my glasses are fogging up because it's so humid and warm here. But anyway, so in August, I've started this a couple of years ago. I'm trying to read 30 books in 30 days. And I'm making a video every year telling you not so much every single book I plan to read, but more kind of what this challenge is about and how I go about to be able to make it. But before I do, there's a public service announcement, because I got this beautiful notebooks, three notebooks, beautiful paper. I put them in the plastic thing again, from Book Depository. Somebody sent them to me, maybe for my birthday, which was in mid-July. I don't know. I couldn't find out who. I asked a couple of people who I thought maybe they sent it to me, but they didn't. So if you are the person who sent me this, because Book Depository doesn't tell you from whom the gift is, you just get an envelope with Book Depository, but nothing in there. So I have no clue. If you watch this and it was your gift, first of all, thank you very much. It's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. But please also tell me so that I can thank you personally. You can do that, of course, in the comments, or if you'd rather do it privately, reach out to me on Voxer or email. But please let me know who sent me this beautiful gift so that I can thank the person personally. Anyway, public service announcement. So back to the 30 books in 30 days. August has 31 days. Like I said, and that's my cheat day. So in other words, if I don't achieve the 30 books until the 30th of August, I can use the 31st of August and still fulfill the challenge in my book, at least. I mean, it's my challenge, so I can cheat whenever I want. The other rule that I have is I can't use books, that I started in July, not more than 2. So in other words, probably this week I will have one book that I already started in July and that I will finish most likely not today, but tomorrow. That's okay. But it's not that I can read ahead and almost finish 10 books in July and then put them in August. That's not how it should work, because I need, for my book balancing purpose, I need to read more books than I brought in. And the other thing, if you thinking of doing such a challenge, whether it's 30 books in 30 days or, 5 books in 5 days or 10 books in 10 days, whatever works for you, or 10 books in 30 days, if that is a real challenge for you because you normally only read 2 books a month, I would advise that you pick a time period where you know that you have a lot of reading time. For me, August is fitting, first of all, because it's close to the July where I got so many books, but also August is my holiday month. I don't teach. There's not a lot of, work stuff going on. It's rather quiet because a lot of people are on vacation. I take time off in August as well. I don't travel in August. So it's not that I have to attend to all kinds of things. And that's for me a good month. So if you thinking of doing a challenge like that, it's always good to really think ahead the time period that would fit and that would suit you. And then there are a couple of things that I do in order to prepare for the challenge and to make it work. Because I'm not a slow reader and I read a lot, I think, but I would not be able to read 30, War and Peace or Tale of Genji with 1,000 pages. That's just not realistic. So there have to be short books. And what I do, that is the thumbnail, by the way, it's not 30 books. It's the first thing that I do is I collect books through the year that I want to read and that have less than, let's say, 180 pages. So really short books, like this one. I just bought this because it was longlisted for the Booker, and I want to read it, and it's novella length. It has 116 pages. I always try, because August is also Women in Translation Month, I always have at least 5 or 6 books that are translated works by women and that are short. So, for instance, I bought this one because I saw it on Stephanie's channel from A Time to Read, and it has 177 pages. The Book of Anna, translated from the Spanish by Samantha Schnee, and it's about Anna Karenina, by the way. I'm not going to dive into each and every book deeply. I think I said that already because that would take too long. And another book that I will start tomorrow is this one. I think I showed that already. Oksana Zabutsko, translated by Halina Herin, Fieldwork in Ukrainian Sex. It's a Ukrainian novel of a young artist coming to the US for an MFA program, and the story takes off from there. And this one has 161 pages, and I'm buddy reading this with Heidi from My Reading Life, who is also doing the 30 books in 30-day challenge, by the way. So I collect these translated works of fiction because I know I'm doing the challenge in August, and I do want to read women in translation. And I collect, like I said, the short books, that are certainly under 200 pages, but preferably under 180. This one, for instance, 113. I wanted to read this for a long time. Ethan Frome by Edith Wharton. Edith Wharton is one of my favorite modern classic authors. So I bought this book, I think, for Christmas, and didn't read it because I knew I would love to read this for the challenge as a short book. So I'm not saying just read short books because they are short. No, that doesn't work, at least not for me. So it's books that I really want to read and that happen to be short, and I collect them over a period of time so that I have at least 10 or so of these short books. The other thing that works well for me is poetry. Even though you can't read poetry that fast, but poetry collections are most of the time really slim. So I picked 2 this time. This one is a classic, of course, Sappho's Poems and Fragments, translated from the Greek. By Carol Ann Duffy. No, that's the foreword. I don't know who translated this. Translated by Aaron Poshigian. And this one is the pick of the Book Naturalist Book Club, Nature Poems by Mary Oliver. So both quite slim, and this also has notes to it. So it's really, for me, possible to read those poems. Yes, and it's fogging up again. It's horrible. In a short period of time, even though I can't read poetry that fast. And it's also good for me because I don't read enough poetry. That's my own judgment. The other thing I like to include, because you can read that really fast as well, at least I think you can, is plays. So this one I showed already. It's by a British author. I hauled this book, kind of a anti-colonialism play, and this one is, of course, very famous, by Lauren Hansberry, A Raisin in the Sun. And I have read this one, but in German, so I thought this is a good opportunity to finally read it in English. So short books, poems, plays. The fourth thing that I do to include some longer books, I pick genres that I know I can read fast. And one of those genres is crime. I love crime and mystery novels, and I can read that fairly fast, faster than a really dense fiction work by an obscure author. No, I don't mean that. But crime is, the whole thing of crime is that it's fast paced, and that also means for me that I can read it fast. And I will read this one, Tana French, The Searcher. It's also for my Irish Lit kind of project that I'm doing together with Kim from Middle of the Book March, and I will buddy read this with her. And it's, the Tana French, I know her work, I know I like it most of the time, and it's fast paced. So that's always a good thing for me. The other thing, genre that I like and that I know I can read relatively fast is memoirs or narrative nonfiction. So I picked two, not too long. This one is even also 150 pages, so it would qualify as a short book. Theaters of Glass by Rebecca Stott. And this is about the woman who brought the sea to the city, so about aquariums. And that sounded really fascinating. So I bought this one some time ago. And I think I saw this on Doris's channel, Doris from All the Books, a memoir, Birds, Art, Life, A Year of Observation. It's also not too long, I think just over 200 pages, with not a tiny font. So I like these genres. The books are not huge, and I can read it fast. So that's the next thing that I at least include. It's this time, I think it's 3 or 4 of those type of books. And the last thing that I do in order also to be able to read the 30 books is, not the last, there's one more, is rereads. I'm not rereading a lot. As you know, I always want to, but then there are these new shiny books that I want to get to first. But August with the challenge is a good time to reread, and I also pick short books for the reread, books that really speak to me when I go through my bookshelf, that I would love to reread and that are not too long. And I picked a couple, but I will show you 2. This is To Be Taught If Fortunate by Becky Chambers. It's not part of the Wayfarer series, but it's one of her standalones, but it's still included in the Wayfarer series. If you buy the box, it's included. I love this. It's about a group of people who go to various planets in order to find life, and what kind of challenges they experience and what it means to qualify things as a certain life form. I thought it was really fascinating, and it is a fast read. And the other book that I will reread is this one, We Jane, a debut novel by a Canadian writer, Amy Wall. And that is because it's topical. It's about abortion and two women, a young woman and an older woman, who travel back to their hometown in Newfoundland in order to have an organization that is similar to the Jane organization that we had in Chicago in the 1960s and early 70s. A group of women who would a clandestine organization who would help other women get safe abortions. And I love this book, and I wanted to reread it, certainly because it's topical, but also because I've read some other books that are about this topic. So I picked this one to reread, and one or two others. So that's also a way for me to include books that I know I can read relatively fast, because a book that I already know, I can read faster. I know that also means that I will probably not read it as thoroughly as I did when I first read it. But for me, the point of rereading is to refresh my memory of a book that I really liked. So I never, or seldom, I should say not never, but seldom I reread in order to, read word for word really slowly, and that's mostly not why I reread. I want to live the atmosphere of a book, and I want to reacquaint myself with the characters and the story, but I know already what happened, so I can read it faster. But if that's not your thing with rereading, that's probably not a good tip for you. And the last thing that I also do is normally, let me back up a little bit. Normally, I'm not a reader who reads in very short installments. I'm not one who reads, at the bus stop when I have 5 minutes. I can't. That's not my way of reading. I need a certain time period to read. But audiobooks, when I do the 30 books in 30 days challenge, I will include audiobooks on the go. I can do, the short bursts of reading with audiobooks. And so I have always 2 audiobooks picked out that I will read when I'm, on the way to the groceries or something like that. Often also reread, because it helps me with the concentration. But that is also something that I do in order to be able to read those 30 books. And again, I want to stress, I don't want you to feel obligated at all to do it. It's something that I do because I think it's fun. I like doing it. I have fun with it. I don't feel it's a chore at all. On the contrary, I'm really looking forward to the month starting tomorrow with this challenge. So please just take it as something that I like to do, and that you might see tips and tricks if you want to do something similar. And I will keep you posted on my progress, how I'm doing towards the second half of the month. But for now, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Wish me luck for the 30 books in 30 days. Looking forward to your comments as always, and I'll see you all soon in the next one.